A very good morning, dear students. Welcome back to computer science session. In this session I am going to discuss a new chapter, that is input and output operators. Okay, so in the input and output operations are done using a library functions called as cin and cout objects of a class IOStream. So IOStream is what? Input output stream. Okay, so it will be consisting of cin and cout objects. Okay, so using the standard input and output library, we will be able to interact with the user by printing. Okay, so by printing cin will get the input statement, and by printing cout will get the output statement. So this cin and cout output statements will send a message on the screen by getting user input from the keyboard. Okay, so this cin and cout in this functions stream. So stream is an object where a program can either insert or extract characters to it or from it. Okay, so a stream is an object where a program can either be inserted, that is a program can be included, or it can be extracted, that is it can be taken from the characters. Okay, so this is called as a stream. So stream means it is an object. Okay, so next, the standard C++ library includes the header files called as IOStream. Okay, where IOStream stands for input output stream objects are declared. So inside this IOStream, the input and output objects are declared. So this is a IOStream. So next we will see how this input operator will work. Okay, see from the keyboard. So from the keyboard user will be sitting and he will be giving the input using a cin object. Okay, so it will be extracted from the extraction operator. So that is this one, and then finally the variable is extracted from this keyboard. So this diagram you have to note down, and this is very important for 2 marks. Okay, so next we will give explanation for this. So from the standard keyboard the input will be extracted. Okay, so the input will be extracted by the operation called as stream extraction operation. Variable that will store the data that is going to be extracted from the stream. Okay, so the operator must be followed by the variable. So this operator has to be followed by the variable. So first the operator will come and next the variable will come. Okay, so this operator will be followed by this variable. Okay, so next is, so for example I will take inputting of the age cin, and this is the age. Okay, so this is the input of the age cin. Okay, so where we are inputting age to the input stream, that is character cin. So this is how the input of this operator is explained. Okay, so next is the first statement declares a variable of the type called as int age. The second one waits for the input from the cin keyboard in order to store this in the integer variable. Cin stands for console input. So what is cin here? Cin is a console input. It can only process the input from the keyboard once the return key has been pressed. Okay, see here, once the return key has been pressed, then only the variable will be taken. Okay, or else it won't be taken. Okay. As a container with the cin extraction. So from the cin extraction, always the variable must be stored. For example, if we request an integer, we will get an integer variable. Okay, so this is about input operator. So input operator, so the operator which we use is cin. Okay, so cin in the sense console input. So what is the operation, what is the operator we use? Stream extraction. So stream extraction is the operator we use, and if the input is taken, for example age is the input I am giving, in the sense first the age has to be entered from the keyboard. So once the age is entered from this keyboard cin, so it will be extracted by this operator, and then the variable will be stored in the memory. Okay. So next is output operator. So the standard output device is the monitor. Okay. So on the monitor we will see the output which is processed by the CPU. Okay. So outputting in the C++ is done by using the stream insertion operator. So this is called as stream insertion. So insertion, for example, for insertion the symbol is this one. Okay. Cout stands for console output. Okay. Next is this one. So variable will be insert. Okay. So this is how the output operation is done. Okay. See, first the variable is taken, and then the operator, insertion operator is used for the cout statement, and finally the output will be displayed. Okay. So now we will see on the example. Okay. So cout, let us learn C++. So this statement has to print the C++ on the screen. So this operator inserts the data that follows it into the stream preceding it. Okay. So the sentence in the instruction is enclosed between this curly braces. So for example, cout welcome to C++ program. Okay. So here whatever this apostrophes, double quotes is there, right? So between this, whatever the statement is there, it has to be printed on the output screen. So that is on the output screen it has to be printed. Whenever we want to use constant strings of characters, we must enclose them between the double quotes so that they can clearly distinguish from the variable names. So that is, whatever we are having here, it has to be displayed like that itself. If there is a variable, it has to be separated like this after this double quotes. Okay. So this is how the cout operator is working. So now we will print a sum. So cout sum. So this content has to be printed, in the sense there is no apostrophe. Okay. So in order to perform line break on the output, we must explicitly insert a new line character into the cout. So that is now cout C++ programming is there, and again you have to print the next line, you have to print, in the sense you have to give endl. So endl, by giving this extraction operator. So now how the output will be there means C++ program. In the next line, whatever the output we have to print, so in the next line we will get the output. Okay, so this endl performs the /n function. So /n what it will give? So it will give the new line character in C++. Okay, so this is also called as escape sequence. So escape sequence, what it will do? It is a special character, whatever it is there behind that slash, so that will be getting to print. Okay, so this is about the C++ output operator. Okay, so that is Cout. So Cout is called as stream insertion. Okay, so stream insertion is Cout operator. Okay, so next we'll move on to one program example. So as usual, all the C++ program will begin with preprocessor directive. So that is #include IOStream.h. Okay, so next is #include conio.h. Okay, so the content has to be always, the program has to be always begin with the main function, void main. Okay, so first what we are doing is we are just printing the C++ is an object oriented programming language. So for that sake we are using Cout statement. So Cout C++ is an object oriented programming. Okay, so next we will give one another statement. So that is C++ is an case sensitive language. Now how the output will be printed in the sense, since we are using here /n. So /n, as I told in the last slide, so the whatever the line which is there in the next sentence has to be printed in the next line. Is it right? So the same way this line will be printed in the next line. So okay, so first line is what now? C++ is an object oriented programming language. Okay, so this will be printed in the first line. So in the next line, C++ is a case sensitive language. Okay, so this is how the program is executed with respect to Cout statement. So what I mean is, whenever we use this /n, we'll get the output in the next line of the current line. Okay, so next we'll move on to the cascading of operators. So supports the use of stream extraction and stream insertion. Is it right? So how many number of ways we can input the input statements, how many number of ways we can output the output statements, all will mean the same. Okay, so for example we are using the for example we are using the Cout statement. Enter the first number. So we are inputting A as a first number. Again enter the second number, we are inputting the second number. Is it right? So instead of using cin statement twice, so that is, instead of using 2 times, we can use the single cin statement and input the 2 numbers using a multiple stream extraction operators. So then how it will be? Enter the 2 numbers. Okay, see now here 1, 2 statements are used. So both the statements are merged and we are inputting only in one statement. So here also in input we are using 2 cin inputs, and therefore we are using double insertions so that we can input 2 input variables in a single line. So this is called as cascading of input and output operators. So in the simple terms, what we can tell is this cascading, in the sense we are combining the input and output, or we are combining the two or more input statements and writing the two or more input statements in a single line is called as cascading of multiple use of this input and output operators. Okay, so next we will see the explanation, still more deeper explanation about cascading of input and output operators. Okay, next we will see, if a program requires more than one input variable, then it is possible to input these variables in a single cin statement using a multiple stream controller, multiple stream extraction operators. So multiple stream extraction operators. Okay, in the sense, instead of using two or more input and output statements, we can use the cin or cout statement in a single line is called as cascading of input and output operators. Okay, so next we'll see the single character output functions can be done. Single character input functions and single character output functions can be done. Okay, so this is about today's class. So if you are having any doubts, do ask the doubts and write all the key points which is mentioned in this recording has to be written in your notes. So let me discuss what are all the important questions from this chapter. So one is, give the another name for cin operator. Okay, so next question is, give the another name for cout function. Third question is, what is cascading? So cascading in the sense what? So next question is, what are manipulators? Okay, so next is, give the header file that holds set w and end l. Okay, so what is the purpose of the set w? Okay, so next is, explain the input operators in C++. So next is, explain the output operators in C++. Explain the cascading of input. Okay, so let me recall from the starting. What are all the contents we discussed. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about input and output operators. So input and output operators are what? Cin and cout. Okay, so this cin and cout operators are done using or functions. These functions will be held in IOStream header file. So using the standard input and output library, we will be able to interact with the user by printing. So how we get the output of this input and output for operations is by printing the contents, message on the screen, and getting the user's input from the keyboard. So from the keyboard, whenever the user is printing, the output will be printed. Okay, so next is, what do you mean by stream? So stream is an object where a program can either insert or extract the characters from it or to it. I mean, so whenever the character has to be inserted, so at that point of time the cin operator is used, that is cin stream is used. Output operator has to be inserted, means cout operator will be inserted. Okay. So next is input operator. So how it will be inputted from the cin object. So from there it will be extracted by using extraction operator. So from there the variable will be extracted. So this is the cin variable, cin function, cin function is used. Okay, so for that cin function we call it as stream extraction. So cin stream, so for the cin stream we call it as stream extraction. Example, cin age I am giving. Okay, so next is until the return key is pressed, all the console input will be taken. Okay, so next is output operator. So output operator is called as stream insertion. So stream insertion, for that we will take it as this as an output operator. So cout statements, cout stands for console output. Okay, so from the variable it will be taken as an insertion, from there it will take it as output object, from there it will be moving on to the monitor screen. Okay, see, if you are using a /n, so then at that point of time the output statement will be getting in the next line. Okay, so /n is called as new line character. For more input or output operators into single line, so that is called as cascading of input or output operators. So in this example we can able to see this. Okay, so this is about today's class. If you are having any doubts, do ask the questions, do write all the key points which is mentioned in this slides in your classwork. Thank you all.